Yeah, I'm making this recording in an effort to shed some light on formatting because I'm noticing that a lot of books that I see are not properly formatted, and hopefully, this information could help someone out and shed a little bit more light on formatting and what it is, and the different styles, and the importance of it. Actually, mostly is why I'm making this recording. You got three basic styles that's constantly used and consistently used throughout as far as concerning format. And the first one would be APA format, which that right there comes from like you see a lot of college students that are writing papers and essays and things of that nature. They would be required to use like an APA format. It's also a format that's used in like giving out like medical information and different areas of that type of structured information will be done in APA format. And APA stands for the American Psychological Association. And the next formatting that's used often is MLA, which that's more reserved for like people that you would find that have maybe like a theater background or something of that nature, like working within the arts. And that's the Modern Language Association. That's what the MLA stands for. And like I said, you more than likely will see that with people that are writing in the arts and theater, possibly have a theater background or something like that. And finally, the most common style used for novels and books is the CMS, which is the Chicago Manual style. And though that particular style is used mostly, like I said, for the production of novels and just literary works. And what I'm seeing, and I can only assume that people are probably using the Amazon template or some type of template that's provided through either an online site or CreateSpace or whatever. And that's like where the number one problem comes in at right there, using the template. Because what happens is when you prepare your file in the template and you save it in the template, what happens is when you go to upload it to the service provider, whether it be Kindle, EPUB, CreateSpace, whatever service provider you're using, what happens is they reformat the document to fit their guidelines and standards. And when you're using the template and you saved your work in the template, it throws it off. There's going to be a shift. You know what I mean? When you're using the template, and you can ask people that have used the template. I'm sure if they use it, they'll probably tell you like, yeah, it looked great in the template. Everything looked like it was on beat. And then when I uploaded it, I noticed that my paragraphs had shift, or my margins was off, or this and that. And that happens because, like I said, the service provider takes what you submit and they reformat it for their distribution channels to be able to distribute it or print it or whatever route you're taking in terms of getting your product out there. And once they reformat it, it shifts. And I tell people all the time, like, the template is really not a good idea, period. Like, when I prepare documents, I prepared a document right in Microsoft Word. That's the purest form to present, to have your document done the correct way. because there's no variables, there's no template, there's nothing. Like once your margins are set and everything is correct the way that it's supposed to be, it doesn't matter what service provider you go through. You're not gonna, nothing's gonna shift. It's not gonna be thrown off anywhere because everything has been done from the raw form and it's proper. So once it's uploaded into the system, it's gonna already meet the guidelines. It's gonna adjust right to the guidelines. It's gonna already fit the guidelines of these service providers, whether it be Kindle, CreateSpace, EPUB, whatever. And a lot of times what I see, like I said, I believe, I can only assume, is that people are using the template, and what I see is a lot of shifting. And another thing too that happens, and this is important, when you are preparing your document and it's not done properly, what happens in essence is you end up spending more money on printing because you have a lot of pages that are not needed within the document. There's a lot of little spaces that are not seen, that you can't see right away. When you're looking at the template, you won't even notice that these spaces are there, and it increases your word count, which in essence increases your price point on printing. So, I mean, you want to have your document as tight as possible. You want to have a formatter that knows how to get your document down to the least amount of pages for the word count, so that you don't run into inexpensive printing costs. Because even if it's on, let's just hypothetically say it's 75 cents because you got these extra pages, every 4 books that you purchase would be 5 books at the price that you're paying, because you're paying 75 cents extra per book because you got all these extra pages in there that you really don't even need. So every time you buy 4 books, you're really paying for 5 but only receiving 4. So like, that doesn't make any sense. Why would you want to pay extra when you don't have to? The key thing is word count. Everything is based around the word count. That's why when I do formatting, I charge people according to the word count, because no matter whatever happens, that's never going to change. It don't matter what font is used. It doesn't, none of that matters. The word count's not going to change. And a good formatter is going to get your word count down to the least amount of pages possible, so that you don't run into problems when it's time to print. You know, and a lot of times, like I said, I see a lot of spaces, a lot of extra seam breaks where they're not supposed to be any, and that's just extra cost. That's an extra expense. So I feel like people should invest in, you know, paying someone who knows what they're doing, who can properly format. Because once you pay for it, you're good. Like, you don't have to worry about, am I going to be able to upload this file over here? Or what's going to happen when I upload it over here? Or am I going to be paying extra for printing costs because I got these extra pages in here? Like, all of that goes out the window. You don't have to worry about it no more. And you know, formatting is very important. Of course, you have your readers who may like and love you, who can read through that. If it shifts, they're fine with that. You know, if a paragraph's off, they're cool with it. But when you get ready to step on a bigger stage in this industry and you want to present your work, you want to have your work, and you want to present your work in the best possible manner. Like, you want to give it the best look that you could possibly give it. And when you start reaching these next levels and presenting your material and it's not proper, the people at the next level, who are not so much your readers but people who are in business, that is going to become a thing to them. It is going to be a big deal. They are going to notice it. And you know, you can just avoid that by having your material already properly formatted, so that when you do reach that next stage, you already prepared to be moving forward with, you know, the guidelines, the standard, what is standard, and not what has become acceptable, you know. And you know, I'm saying it's not as an attack to anyone, and I'm not trying to down anyone for their efforts, but it's just from an honest place. Like, we don't want the standard to become a low level, like oh, well, you could just do it like this. We can't let low level become the standard, because you'll never reach any higher plateau by doing that, you know. And I feel like a lot of times I say little things, you know, that I feel are helpful, that people should be hearing. And what I think happens is the message gets lost in translation, because now we're typing dialogue, and no one's hearing my voice. You know, I'm not like most of the time I'm just saying these things as I'm talking now. Like, I'm not angry, I'm not upset, it's not none of that. It's just that I'm speaking to a fact, something that I may know that other people may not. And that, you know, that's another thing. I don't want to be coming off like I'm a know-it-all or I'm an authority on the industry. It's not that. Because any information that I have, I've learned it from somewhere else. Like, I've either researched it on my own, or I've dealt with someone who had more knowledge on the subject than myself, and I gathered the knowledge, and now I'm just showing my growth. I'm giving my growth and development back out to other people who may not have received this message, or may not have the information. And a lot of times I find that I get ridiculed, or people take it as an attack when you say something, because everyone has gotten to this point where they feel like no one can tell them anything. That's the climate that we're in. And I understand, you know, you can do whatever you want to do, but we have to protect literature. Like, it has to be a standard, and we don't want the standard to be, oh, I can do whatever I want. And when books are coming out and they're not proper, that reflects the entire genre. Even though it's your book, it's coming out under a genre, and if someone encounters your book and it's totally wrong, it's everything about it is off, that affects everyone in the genre, because they may just peg everybody in the genre as someone who isn't doing it proper, or the people in that genre don't know how to do it proper. And especially in urban fiction, it's always been a struggle with the content and the material that we're delivering. A lot of us deliver anyway. So, like, don't let that be the reason, because your book production is off, or it's not proper. You know, like, we gotta have a standard. And as long as we're doing things the proper way and following the true guidelines of the industry, that'll be one thing that we can't be attacked on. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not attacking people. I just be wanting to give out the information, because I feel that it's a reflection on everybody when people aren't taking the proper steps to get their material out the right way and putting their best foot forward. You know, and business is business. Like, I understand people have people that they like, people that they don't like. That's apple and oranges when it comes to business. Like, you can have a friend, but if their formatting skills is not up to par and they're just mediocre, why? That's not someone you want to do business with. Like, no disrespect, and then that shouldn't harm the friendship or the relationship that you have with them if they can't perform the task and make your product the best that it could be. Like, you should be able to take your business somewhere where your product is going to be done the right way, and your friends shouldn't be looking at you like, oh, well, you know our format, why you go over there? You know, when you tell them, well, look, you know, you still have a couple of little things you need to work out with that. You haven't fully got it down pat, and I don't want to take a chance on my product not being the best it could be, because I let you do it, and we're friends. And that, like I said, that shouldn't harm the relationship, because your friend should want you to see, they should want your product to be the best it could be. They should want to see your product be the best that it could be, and you're not helping them when they continue to do it wrong, and you continue to accept it. Like, you just have to be honest. Like, at some point, business is business. It's not about who you like, what you like. What you should like is having a proper service that's going to serve your product and give your product the best possible look and the best presentation that you could possibly get from it. Like, you don't want to be sitting back and having, a bunch of issues or errors with your product because you were looking out for a friend and you didn't want to go to someone who could possibly, definitely, have your material in a proper form. And I'm seeing that all too often, too much in this business, in this industry, that people are getting offended, about things that are being said, or if someone says something, like, a lot of times people won't even research to see if it's correct or not correct. They'll just look at the source that it's coming from and immediately apply a negative condemnation to whatever is being spoken about. Like, people will just immediately say, yo, you know what, it's him or it's her, and I don't care what they're saying. Like, we got to do better. Literature is a place, for me, it's a place of education. I learned from books, and I've learned from people who learn from books. So, I don't think that it's something where ignorance should be winning the race, so to speak. Like, just really have to protect this, man, because literature is very, very important. And if you're going to do literature, you should always be wanting to put your best foot forward and have the best presentation that you could possibly have. And yes, I do offer formatting services, but if you don't want to use my services, find someone who does know what they're doing and who can properly execute the task at hand so that your product could be the best that it could be. You know what I mean? Don't sell yourself short trying not to deal with somebody just because. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta be thinking about you and your product, because that's your representation. So, that's basically it on the formatting thing. Anybody that's in need of any formatting services that may need, to get their document formatted, their manuscript formatted, or they have a manuscript that has not been properly formatted and they want to get it fixed and get it done correctly, you can contact me at blurredlines.com at the website and just send a request, and you'll hear back. And that's blurred, LYNES.com. And thank you for your time, man.